one of the guys who were first managed by Dana White before he owned the UFC.
Yes.
Right?
I think he's very modest. He doesn't like to talk about how he's one of the best trainers out. He owns one of the best gyms out in the entire country. He's very popular with the ladies.
So this guy Tiki, he is very connected with the UFC. And I go on Twitter, I say, hey, you know what, this guy's a groomer, potential pedophile.
For all the Tiki Gozen fans out there worldwide, can we get a message for them?
Yeah, sure. Schmo, because you're about the only one I have. I really like your attire.
Tiki Gozen never had his moment of glory inside the UFC. He didn't win the big fights. He got knocked out, tapped out, even laughed at on live TV. But don't let that fool you. Tiki Gozen became something even more powerful than a successful fighter. He helped shape the foundation of MMA. He wasn't just another guy in the cage. He helped build the first MMA super team. He started one of the most iconic training gyms in MMA history, and now he's the guy behind some of the biggest UFC stars. This is the untold journey of Tiki Gozen, from tough beginnings to becoming the mastermind behind champions. If you love stories about forgotten legends, people who built MMA behind the scenes, and those who gave the sport its roots, then stay with us. Let's explore the rise, fall, and incredible reinvention of Tiki Gozen. Tiki was born on February 9th, 1977 in Huntington Beach, California. Before MMA, before octagons and gloves, his first love was football. He was a star defensive back in high school and helped his team win a national championship in 1995.
Tiki, people don't believe us that modern day, the school is so tough, we have our own obituary column in the school newspaper.
Hey, there was multiple shootings and stabbings outside of the school when I was going there.
Tiki dreamed of playing in the NFL, but then something unexpected happened. Muay Thai entered his life.
18 years old when I discovered kickboxing, and soon after that, one of my buddies got me into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like, man, you gotta come try Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, what? You gotta put this gi on. I'm like, I'm wearing a fucking gi? This is stupid. But I ended up doing it. I was getting choked and submitted left and right, and I was like, all right, this is...
What started as simple cross-training turned into a full-on obsession. He gave up football, traded cleats for shin guards, and never looked back. MMA was just beginning to grow in the US at the time. It was raw, unknown, and wild. But Tiki was ready to jump right in, and even before UFC became a global brand, Tiki had already met someone who'd change his life. Dana White. Back then, Dana wasn't the UFC president, he was just managing fighters, but he saw something special in Tiki. His grit, energy, and personality. Dana made him one of his first ever clients. Alongside Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, Tiki Gozen became one of Dana White's original 4 fighters.
Oddly enough, my first manager was Dana White.
Really?
So I was one of the first 4 MMA fighters that he was representing. It was myself, it was John Lewis, Chuck Liddell, and Tito Ortiz.
Wow, what year was this when you started working with him?
This was 2000.
Okay. How did you link up with him?
So back in the day, Tito and I were traveling to Las Vegas to train with John Lewis, and that's kind of like where the whole Tito and Chuck saga started, because we were all training together. And John Lewis had met Dana and was kind of showing jiu-jitsu to the Fertittas and Dana White, and that's kind of how we all linked together.
That bond with Dana lasted for years. Even when Dana became the boss of UFC, he still had Tiki's back. Their relationship wasn't just business, it was built on deep trust from before the fame.
How does it feel to be part of the team now?
Oh, it's fucking amazing. I've never felt this good my whole life.
Tiki's professional MMA debut came in 1998, those early, chaotic days of the sport. He fought Genki Sudo, a future legend. They initially called it a draw, but after protest, it was overturned. That's how unpredictable MMA was back then. Still, Tiki kept going. He won a few fights after that, one by guillotine, one by decision, one at King of the Cage 2. These weren't flashy arenas, they were gym halls, casinos, fairgrounds.
Anybody in here that's fighting for these shows or putting the time to fight an amateur show like this, doing what you're doing, don't stop, don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Anything you put your mind to, you can achieve. And it starts shows as small as this. Like I said, when I first started, I fought in a show that was smaller than this.
Every one of those fights helped build MMA's foundation. Tiki was relentless, a tough welterweight, and the UFC started paying attention. Around that time, Tito Ortiz was becoming a star. He and Titi were both from Huntington Beach. They teamed up with Rob McCullough, kickboxer, and together they formed Team Punishment, one of the sport's most iconic fight camps. Titi trained with future champions like Rampage Jackson.
Back ever since I moved here over 20-something years ago, and I was training with you and Tiki at Team Punishment. Who else was over there? Mayhem Miller?
Tito.
As Tito climbed to the top of the UFC's light heavyweight division, Titi was there, learning, sharpening his skills, and waiting for his moment.
Oh, Tiki's gay? You guys don't know that yet? Oh my God.
So what was it that got you your break? How did you get to the next level?
I can't even remember. I just remember beating ass. I just came in there, started fucking people up, and the next thing you know, getting the...
That moment came at UFC 24. Tiki fought but lost by rear naked choke. He got another shot at UFC 30, but his shoulder dislocated mid-fight. He didn't quit. He fought on the smaller circuits, picked up more wins, and finally landed on the biggest stage, UFC 40. His opponent, a 20-year-old killer named Robbie Lawler.
Overrated. I think he got caught up in all the hype. You know, he's fought some, average opponents. No, I think he's going to fight someone who's actually a mirror image of him, and see if he can deal with the punches, if he can deal with someone being able to take those punches and get...
Lawler knocked him out in 89 seconds. But the real story came after the fight. Blood dripping down his face, Tiki was asked if he regretted calling Lawler overrated. He looked straight at the camera and said they stopped it because of a cut.
You said he was a little overrated. Did you take that back right about now?
Would I take it back? No, I got a cut. They stopped it because of a cut.
That line became part of MMA folklore. Even Robbie Lawler laughed about it years later.
I was in the corner when you fought Tiki.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Tiki's corner.
Shit, he almost kicked me in the face.
That was a good fight, too. So it was my friend, but I was hey.
He, did an interview and he was, talking.
Tiki got one final UFC chance at UFC 47, submitted by Chris Lytle. 0 wins, 4 losses in the UFC. Most fighters would have disappeared after that, but not Tiki. Even while still fighting, he was building something much bigger. On January 1, 2001, he opened the Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Center, HPUTC, one of the first all-in-one MMA gyms in the US. It became home to legends like Tito, Rampage, Bisping, and Czech Congo.
Meet Quentin. How long do you know him for?
Shit, I've known Quentin ever since I opened my gym, 2001. Quentin used to actually walk to my gym.
Tiki was no longer just a fighter. He became a coach, a leader, a mentor. He was now building fighters, not just being one.
When Tiki had the gym opening and all the fighters were lined up, Kendall and Tito, and Baroni was hitting mitts in the middle of the parking lot. Some good times back in the day, man.
Ever since the UFC got on Spike and everybody and their mom wants to be an Ultimate Fighter now and everybody knows the sport, everybody wants to tell you how to do it. You get a lot more fans coming in, you get a lot more people interested in signing up and trying it out. So that definitely helps with business. The main source of income is...
In 2008, he got a win in Strikeforce, another in 2009. He wrapped up his career with a 10-8 record and won no contest. But his real fight, his real mission, was just beginning. That same year, he joined the Ultimate Fighter Season 10 as part of Team Rampage's coaching staff, and immediately he made waves.
Who's it gonna be? Rampage and Tiki, of course.
He clashed with Rashad Evans on camera.
Hey, Rashad, last fight. Rashad's last fight, he did the stanky leg in the...
When Rashad Evans mocked Tiki's 0-4 UFC record and his bleach blonde beard, Tiki didn't flinch. He said, "I'll fight you in the parking lot right now." It didn't happen, but the moment became classic TV.
Tiki, when he was by himself, he had very minimal to say.
Hey, let's go eat, man. Okay. Hey, Tiki, why don't you go away so his boss can go away and he can act like he normally do?
I just saved your life. I just saved your life.
Okay. I went to Tiki MySpace the other day. He got a page just full of for Rampage pictures, him and Rampage. And one of the pictures, Rampage just hit him in the nuts and he's like this.
Damn. Tiki returned again in 2011 for Top 14, this time as a guest coach for Team Bisping. Fans no longer saw him as just the guy who lost in the UFC. He was now the wise coach in the corner, the man behind the champions.
Barricades completely around Tiki, escalade so he couldn't get out.
Someone's probably told my car.
It was a kind of a cool prank, I guess. It's kind of...
Bisping and Tiki poked their head into our locker room. By the time I realized something was up, it was too late.
I can't breathe.
Scurried out of the room like a bunch of rats right into a mariachi band. What the was that?
Bravo! Bravo, Tiki! Bravo!
High five!
In the 2010s, Tiki Gozen evolved once more. He launched Arsenal Sports Agency, stepping into the role of manager. He'd lived every corner of the fight game, fighter, coach, gym owner. Now he was managing careers.
Fell into my lap. I was basically coaching and training fighters as well. Rampage Jackson came back and said, "Hey man, I need your help.
And I said, all right, what do you need? He's like, I need a manager. I said, all right, let's do it. At the time, he found himself in a bad spot in between organizations, in lawsuits, and he was in bad shape and got him out of that, and here we are.
This is a new venture for you, and you're repping some of the top names in the sport.
You know, you meet the guys, you start to train them, and then you start to care about whether they win or lose. And next thing you know, if they lose, you connect with them, so you get irritated. It starts to get you in a bad mood.
I mean, how many guys are you training at once? What does this entail?
You train a lot of fighters, but if you're running a specific camp for somebody who has a fight coming up,
on the one guy who has a fight.
Right.
I mean, I love it. It's something that I've been able to do after fighting that keeps me in it, aside from coaching. Coaching is one of my...
And not just managing anyone, his client list exploded. Dustin Poirier, Aljamain Sterling, Brian Ortega, Rampage, Bisping, BJ Penn, Chael Sonnen. All trusted Tiki, the man who never won in the UFC but earned something even deeper: respect.
Fighter to trainer is a natural move. We see that quite often, but fighter to trainer to manager is not a move that we often see.
What's funny is, back in the day, we used to do this and fend for ourselves with sponsors. Like, that's what I did, and basically hustle for myself. So doing this from so long ago, it has helped me, and it's actually shaped me into being able to acquire.
Today, when Tiki walks into arenas, people don't see a failed fighter, but they see a man who built a legacy.
You were able to do in your contract negotiations that other men weren't able to do.
I've been in this industry for quite a while, and I've kept very good contacts. You know, I've got a good network, and one thing that I kind of pride myself on is I never burn a bridge, and I never, I'm not the type of person who's going to screw somebody over.
This is a relationship-based business, and I've kept really good relationships with, Scott Coker, Dana White, the people that, you need to know in this business.
I've been there. I understand the game. I understand the perspective from the promoter. I understand the perspective from the fighter, and I'm able to reach a deal that works for everybody.
Do you feel like your experiences as a fighter, dealing with managers, dealing with promoters, but do you feel like this has helped you become a better manager?
Right now, the MMA landscape for managers and whatnot is kind of like the Wild Wild West. There's not a lot of guys that have been in it from the beginning. There's not a lot of people that understand the sport from the beginning, and they think they can just come in and push their way through everything. Doesn't matter who they piss off. Doesn't matter who.
With his signature bleached beard, he's instantly recognizable.
I envy you. You're my hero. If I could only grow the goatee like you, bro, then I'd become a man. Until then, I'm still just a boy.
I'm gonna grow a tiki beard. I'm gonna sit home on Friday nights and put the Q-tip in the dye and dye it.
I don't do it.
Can you imagine how much fucking time and effort he puts into doing that thing? I think I've known Tiki for 9 or 10 years, and he's been doing that for 10 years.
His booming laugh, his loyalty.
To both of you guys.
He's infatuated with me, and for some reason thinks that I'm on fucking steroids, okay? Tiki isn't bright enough to figure out what dudes that are on steroids look like and what normal dudes look like. You know what I'm on? I'm on fucking pizza, chicken fingers, and cheeseburgers, okay?
Somebody's eating good. That's what that means.
He created Team Punishment, he built HBUTC, and now he builds champions. Despite being surrounded by loud personalities in MMA, Tiki has always kept a low profile. Even in his late 40s, he's in top shape, fit, athletic, still looking like a fighter. In the late 2000s, says he made some headlines, like dating UFC ring girl Ariane Celeste and appearing on the dating show The Ultimate Murder in 2010. But mostly, Tiki kept his personal life out of the spotlight. That changed in 2024. In August 2024, former UFC champ Sean Strickland publicly accused Tiki of misconduct. Strickland said he left HBUTC after hearing about an alleged incident involving a female fighter. He claimed he spoke with a woman and her father, and that he'd even help fund legal action if Tiki sued him for defamation. Strickland later said that multiple women had contacted him with similar stories, and that he was ready to take their statements to UFC officials. As of now, no legal action has been taken. Tiki hasn't made any public statement either. The allegations remain unverified, but they've definitely impacted how people see him. Still, when you look at the full picture, Tiki's story is one of perseverance. He went 0-4 in the UFC, but that didn't stop him. He rose in every other way. He became a gym builder, a mentor, a manager. He helped fighters reach the top, even when he never did inside the cage. Tiki Gozen's story shows what it means to evolve, to rebuild after loss, to keep going when others would have quit. He didn't just build a career, he built other people's dreams. In a sport that often forgets its early heroes, Tiki Gozen's legacy reminds us, it's not always about wins, it's about impact.